Okay, so first things first. Sorry this is so late, but if you're aware of the part of the country I live in, you would know that we kind of got hit with a snowstorm on Thursday. So, yeah, well, we were on the outer edge of it, and so we didn't get as bad as snow as a lot of other places. It still got kind of bothersome. I mean, I'm not even joking when I say a big 4x4 pickup truck skidded out of control and looked like it was about to roll over onto my front lawn. So, yeah, I decided not to go on for a Thursday preview screening. Second off, this is a Lionsgate film, so I can't do my normal screen captures from the trailer. Again, because Lionsgate tends to be really claim happy on YouTube. If you follow Angry Joe, you know that he's had a lot of problems with Lionsgate. So I had to use comic scans, and this is from a Hellboy miniseries called Darkness Calls, which, at least according to Wikipedia, was apparently one of the source material for this movie. So in a way, it's actually kind of appropriate. And as you could just see, I own these comics, so no, I'm not violating anything from it, I think. Anyway, again, two, if you're familiar with my Captain Marvel and Shazam reviews, then yeah, it's going to be in the same style. I'm going to start off by giving my final thoughts on the film, and then we're going to go into the spoiler section, and then we're going to go into the trailers, okay? And again, those will be braked by commercials, okay? One more thing, guys. I am aware that I refer to Ian McShane as Ray Winstone, and I think I have a reason for this. To the right of my recording setup, I have a poster for the movie Sexy Beast, which actually features both actors. Ray Winstone gets top billing on that poster, and as you can clearly see when I'm saying the name, I am looking at that poster, and I think I just instinctively saw Ray Winstone and thought, oh, it's Ray Winstone, not Ian McShane. So, yeah, I don't need that mistake pointed out to me. That should cover things, right? Okay, so overall, I gotta give the 2019 Hellboy movie, I'm gonna give it a C minus. I can't quite drop all the way down to D, and I can't say it was really good in any way stretch of the imagination. I have seen some reviews that are absolutely just lambasting this thing, and I just don't see that. This thing is not a train wreck. It appears to be at least competently made. Unfortunately, the material itself just is not particularly interesting, even though I think David Harbour makes for a perfectly serviceable Hellboy, and there's some decent performances from Ray Winstone and Mila Jovovich as well. So, yeah, not entirely bad, but not really good, and I can't wholeheartedly recommend it, and I'll get why in the spoiler section.
It's gonna be a late one, people.
What a bummer, dude. Now you won't be able to watch me on DirecTV tonight.
Relax, Red. I can easily set my home DVR to record you right from here. Done.
Wow.
You know, you're a little scary up close.
With DirecTV, you can easily set your home DVR from any cell phone or computer. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Okay, so the principal thrust of this movie is basically Hellboy has to deal with a resurrected, basically witch from Arthurian times named Vivian Nimoy, aka the Blood Queen. And in the Arthurian lore, she tried to unleash a plague upon humanity. Arthur tricked her under the guise of trying to call some type of truce, and he killed her, dismembered her, and sent her body parts to various corners of, well, Britain, basically, because they all seem to be in England. But, yeah, that's sort of the gist there. That's the Mila Jovovich character, and Hellboy is having a caustic relationship with his adopted father, Professor Trevor Broom. That's Ray Winstone's character, and it's causing, like, if you're not aware, in the comics, like, Hellboy appears to be sort of a grown man, but in terms of his demonness, he's actually more of a teenager, and that's why he has this kind of stubborn, rebellious attitude. That does carry through very well here, I think. I think they do get some of the characterization down. I'm going to get to the main problems when I get to them, so don't worry. But basically, Hellboy is called to England by some friends of Professor Broom who run a place called the Osiris Club, and they need him to help hunting giants. And it turns out this is all a trick because their seer has seen, well, obviously as foretold, that Hellboy will come to England, claim the throne, and bring about the apocalypse in the process. And I'll get to a little bit of that later because it all sort of ties back into Hellboy's origin. They actually do a lot of the same, and this is the main problem with the movie. The main problem with the movie is this is basically a remake of the first Guillermo del Toro movie with Ron Perlman. That's basically it. You get a flashback to Hellboy being summoned by Rasputin. They just take Rasputin and Cronin and I forget the others are, but they're tossed out and excuse me. They're basically tossed out, and this Blood Queen character is put into it, and that's really all there is. So yeah, it's basically Hellboy is summoned to England. He gets tricked on several occasions, and basically the Blood Queen contacts him and says, "Hey, look, we're mistreated." He tries to play a bit into his sympathy because Hellboy is still very much an outcast because of how he looks, and she says, "Look, you could join me. We start things over. We'll create a new Eden. Everyone will be fine, and there's going to be some peace, and everyone will be accepted." And Hellboy kind of knows that it's a bit of a lie, but some of it kind of plays into it, and he's not entirely against it. Also, he encounters a young woman who is a child. As a child, he had saved from a group of fairies who had switched her out with a changeling, and Hellboy bound that changeling with iron and turned it into this human razorback hybrid. And so the human razorback hybrid has joined with the Baba Yaga and trying to summon the Blood Queen, basically. And through all of this, again, Hellboy is basically tempted to turn to the dark side, and shenanigans ensue after that. And then, just a sec here. Okay. Anyway, they resurrect the Blood Queen. Hellboy also finds out that he is descended from King Arthur and that he can wield the sword Excalibur, but the second he actually tries to touch the sword, he sees himself again bringing about the apocalypse, and so he tries to reject it. And eventually, the Blood Queen kills Professor Broom and gets through all of this. That gets Hellboy to grab the sword, but Alice has the ability to channel ghosts. She can talk to spirits. She's clairvoyant, I guess, so would be a way to say it. And she can, and like I said, she can contact spirits. She actually is able to grab the spirit of Professor Broom, and she can actually channel the spirits out of her body. So they come out like these long tendrils that are out of her mouth. And like I said, Professor Broom comes out and he basically says, "Look, I knew that you were descended from Arthur's bloodline the whole time. I saw the humanity in you. I know you're capable of being more than just a demon and more than just a man, and that you can actually bring peace rather than destruction." And that's enough to get Hellboy to kill the Blood Queen, and and everything returns to normal. And then we get two ending stingers. The first is at one point Hellboy, Agent Alice, and Agent Daimyo, who I have not mentioned, unfortunately. He's okay. It's Daniel Day Kim, and he's a were-jaguar who works with the basically British branch of the BPRD. And they're in Siberia, where these other people are, who are actually the members of the cult of cult of Atlantis, and they're keeping something in a chamber called an ichthyosapien, which means it's Abe Sapien. And that's how that ends. And then we get another scene because Professor Broom is killed, and he's in Hellboy is drinking over his father's grave, and he bumps into Lobster Johnson. And Lobster Johnson, played by Thomas Hayden Church, who appeared earlier in the film, as he's part of the Hellboy backstory. That's not from the comics at all. He's just he pops in, and basically Lobster Johnson gives him some encouragement, and that's how that plays out. So, yeah, like I said, overall, the main problem, I would say, it's not terrible movie. Like, I've seen so many reviews that are just ripping this thing to shreds, and I just don't think it's warranted that hate. I think a lot of that's just, oh, it's not Guillermo del Toro, so we have to hate this. And I don't buy into that. I'm at least willing to give things a proper shot, and I did. And like I said, this was not horrendously bad. It was not good either. As I said, it just felt like the oddly lukewarm remake of the first Guillermo del Toro film from 2005. And here's the thing, that film, when it was released in theaters, was PG-13, and this one's rated R, and I think, obviously, the first one did a better job, was more impactful as a PG-13 than this one as an R rating, because the gore just seems really forced. Like, we had to go for an R rating, so we need all of the scenes of people being ripped in half and chopped in pieces and impaled and swearing, and yeah, it doesn't really add anything at all to this. It's just really lacking and really dull. So yeah, I couldn't quite go down into D territory because I did like some of the performances. I actually liked some of the action scenes. But yeah, it's just, C-. That's why I gave it that.
On Beauty and the Beast, just the thought of what can never be is love enough.
It's the rarest kind of love.
Then on Dallas, guess who's really behind the battle for Southport?
You want to ruin JR, you hit him from all sides.
And on Falcon Crest.
What does a girl have to do to get a date with you, Lance?
I couldn't possibly guess.
Friday.
Okay, it's trailer time, and well, there's not really anything new here. Well, sort of. I'm trying to think if I had one before or not. First up is The Curse of La Llorona. That's the next movie I'm reviewing. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. After that, we had Dark Phoenix again, Godzilla King of the Monsters again. Then we had Brightburn. I don't know if I've had this one or not, but this is the basically the Superman Elseworld story that James Gunn is doing. That isn't technically a Superman Elseworld story, but for all intents and purposes it is. Then we had John Wick 3, Parabolum. I believe this is the first time I've actually seen the trailer. The last two times we had it in the theater, it was only the audio for it. And then we had Avengers Endgame rounding things off. So, yeah, like I said, nothing too spectacular right there. So, anyway, like I said, the next movie is going to be The Curse of La Llorona. Still don't know if I got that right. And then after that, the next video is going to be the random trade review on the Chris Claremont, Frank Miller Wolverine miniseries. And it's just the miniseries, unfortunately. The two X-Men tie-in issues were not included in my collection, so I'll touch a little bit on it when we get to there. See you all next time. Hey guys, check out my Patreon and see how you can request a movie for me to review, even if it's some stinker like A Dog's Way Home or the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Also, if you like what you see, give the video a like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Alright, here's some footage of the cat for everyone. Sleepy cat on lap today. Well, mm-hmm.